begins to warm up. And again, I wouldn't promise you a completely dry afternoon out towards the west, sorry. Hampton Fluff show. Tuesday, showers. Wednesday, a veil of cloud coming in. That's ahead of this system. Now, once we get past Wednesday, a lot of uncertainty. A lot's got to go on before we really do bring this cloud, wind and rain in from the North Sea to affect the eastern side of Britain initially, but there is a huge amount of doubt from Wednesday onwards about just how far towards the west this wind and rain is going to tumble. But out to the west during Wednesday, I suspect there will be essentially a dry day in prospect. So again, not all doom and gloom. Rita, back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Phil. And now a reminder of our top story this lunchtime. David Cameron has said there'll be no stone unturned by an inquiry into how institutions have handled allegations of child abuse.
I'm absolutely determined that we're going to get to the bottom of these allegations, and we're going to leave no stone unturned to find out the truth about what happened.
That's all from us. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Goodbye.
The headlines on Reporting Scotland this Monday lunchtime. The First Minister dismisses claims he sent an intimidating letter to the leader of the Scottish Fishermen's Federation. The biggest replica of a Viking boat there's been sails into trouble on the high seas. And heading for the Western Isles, the Queen's Baton Relay is going to Barra on a bike. Hello there, good afternoon. The First Minister is dismissing claims that he sent an intimidating letter to the leader of the Scottish Fishermen's Federation. Our economics correspondent Coletta Smith joins us now from the newsroom. Coletta.
Fishermen's Federation raised a number of questions relating to the possibility of an independent Scotland and its impact on the fishing industry. Bertie Armstrong put these points to the First Minister directly in a letter, and he said he was shocked by the response that came back from Mr Salmond.
Rough treatment doesn't bother me in the slightest, but it just didn't answer the questions. It therefore seemed like something of a warning or something of an attempt at, strong word, intimidation about asking questions, pursuing the questions that we asked or asking any further ones, it seemed to me.
So Coletta, what is the Scottish Government's response to Mr Armstrong's letter?
Well, first of all, they say that nothing in the letter could remotely be described as intimidating. They say the First Minister was responding directly to an incorrect point raised by Mr Armstrong. The issue was about whether EU vessels would be stopped from having transit through Scottish waters to the Norwegian zone. The First Minister said in the letter that this was not the case, and that the particular element that the Fishermen's Federation had a problem with is the line in which he says, "I thought that such a ridiculous interpretation would be confined to David Mundell, and find it astonishing that anyone else would follow this interpretation." The Scottish Government said that Mr Salmond sent a factual correction to the original letter, which misrepresented his position. A full reply by the Minister responsible for the Fisheries Department was sent to the Scottish Fishing Federation that directly dealt with the points about independence asked in the original Federation letter.
OK, Coletta, many thanks. A Labour MP says the Better Together campaign wants nothing to do with the Orange Order. Jim Murphy was speaking after 12-year-old Kelsey Lynch was hit by a bottle while watching the parade on Saturday. He says that a match planned by the Orange Order called British Together on the 13th of September ahead of the referendum should not go ahead. A spokesman for the Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland said he did not foresee any problems in Edinburgh. More than 100 residents who were evacuated from a high-rise block of flats in Motherwell last Thursday are this lunchtime beginning to return to their homes. North Lanarkshire provided emergency accommodation for them after Scottish Power electricians disturbed asbestos at Anderson Tower during rewiring work. Specialist contractors worked through the weekend to fix the problem, and the all-clear was given earlier today. A fire raiser who started a blaze at a tenement in Dundee has been jailed for 8.5 years. A judge at the High Court in Edinburgh told Brian Martin he had put residents in the block and firefighters at risk. The 30-year-old, who the court heard had been an alcoholic since his teenage years, had been found guilty of willfully starting the fire in April 2012. The biggest replica there's ever been of a Viking longship has set sail on its maiden international voyage and sailed into bother. It hit a big wave and its 80-foot mast snapped off. Now it's been forced to berth in the Shetland Islands. John Johnson has been following the story.
The Dragon Harald Fairhair is the largest replica Viking longship in the world. It's 113 feet long and can reach a top speed when the sail is aloft of 12 knots. Well, it was on its journey across the North Sea to Shetland that it ran into trouble. Well, I'm joined now by one of the crew members, Tora Hyde. Tora, what happened?
Yeah, we were sailing from Norway and headed for the Orkney Islands when our mast broke by wind pressure and wave, and yeah.
So you had to turn to the engines on board?
Yes. The mast fell overboard, sail came down, and we started the engine and came here.
And what's the attraction sailing on board this vessel?
It's a great adventure, as you can imagine. Even if the mast breaks, it's still an adventure to experience something like this and come to Shetland in this way and see new places.
Did you suffer a wee bit of seasickness?
A little bit on the journey here, yes, but it was still worth it.
And the plan now is to wait until you get to Liverpool for a replacement mast?
Yes. The plan is to continue now by engine down the Caledonian Canal to Liverpool, which was the plan always. And then hopefully we'll get a new mast there and sail back home by sail. Yeah.
Well, Tora, thanks for joining us. And the plan now is when the crew get a weather window to leave Shetland, and they hope to reach Liverpool by the middle of the month.
John Johnson there. It's thought to be a unique collaboration between a Scottish prison and a professional football club. Coaches from Annan Athletic FC are working with prisoners at Dumfries Jail to give them a qualification in sports leadership. It's teaching the men life skills which it's hoped can help them stay out of trouble after release, as Willie Johnson reports.
Prisoners let off steam on the soccer field at Dumfries Jail. This is football trying to show them another way.
Right, help each other, respect each other.
The project is called More Chances, More Choices, funded by Big Lottery, fronted by Annan Athletic.
I think the key thing we're looking at is how these guys get a bit of their confidence back and a bit of self-esteem using different types of communication. And they're actually putting sessions on, so it just shows there's potential there, there's good abilities, and all the guys have good attributes. It's just somebody to try and help bring that out to the fore.
Today it's Jai Jai's turn to lead the session.
Boys in the red vest, they'll be travelling in the park, they'll be going to the boys with the boys.
Jim by his side, coaxing, encouraging.
Show them, show them, show them.
It's the first time some of these men have been aware of time and money being focused on them as individuals, being treated as equals.
The boys have never had anything like this prison ever. I've been in 2 or 3 times, and this is the first time I've ever seen programmes like this been on.
Jim's been absolutely fantastic since he came in with us. He's brought different players in as well and stuff like that, so it's a big encouragement for us. We're getting a chance to show that we're not all bad people, and we're trying to re-offend and do better things.
No, Joel, you must give it to somebody else. Don't be lazy now.
The Football Leadership Skills course is only one of several collaborations with outside organisations going on inside Dumfries Prison.
We have to find a way to engage with each and every one of these guys, and we'll do anything that gets us to that level with them, whether it be cookery skills, learning to be a good neighbour, or football skills, arts projects. Everyone has something that they're going to be interested in, and we will use that as a vehicle for change.
The prisoners here are learning all about teamwork, self-discipline, decision-making, how to make better choices, set better goals in life. Willie Johnston, reporting Scotland, HM Prison, Dumfries.
The Glasgow Science Centre Tower, which has been closed for 4 years, is to reopen a week on Saturday. The 127-metre high rotating tower, plagued with problems since opening in 2001, has undergone a £1.8 million revamp. The Commonwealth Games baton is continuing its journey around the country. Earlier, our reporter Cameron Buttle caught up with a couple of people on Barra who'll be holding the baton later this afternoon.
Well, welcome to Barra Airport. It's quite an unusual airport. In fact, there's nothing quite like it anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere. Because here, the flight schedules are dictated by the tide. Because out there, That's the runway, and that's exactly where the Queen's Baton will be arriving later this afternoon. It's going to be touring the island. There are about 1,000 people here. 6 of them are going to be baton bearers, and I'm delighted to say 2 of them are joining us here this morning. Morning, how are you?
Morning.
Are you chuffed at the batons coming here? Is this going to make you feel a bit more part of the games, do you think?
Absolutely, because Barra's at the tail end of everything. So it's just great to be involved, and everybody's getting really excited about the whole thing and just getting acknowledged as a place in its own right, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, it's a huge community here, as you say. Yeah. Why were you nominated as a baton bearer?
Because my children reckon that they nominated me, and they reckon every time they phone home, I'm either going to a meeting, back from a meeting, or taking part in a meeting of some volunteering, because without volunteering Barra survives on volunteering, really. A lot of the activities are all voluntary. Different organisations.
And there's a lot happening here. It's very easy to think this is a sleepy place, but there's a lot happening every weekend in the summer, and I believe this is largely down to you, Katie, is that right?
I can only take a responsibility for one weekend, but which is the marathon, which is the annual half marathon that takes part annually.
And that's part of a series now that's going right across.
Part of a series. It's called HEB 3. It's one of 5 races: Barra, Benbecula, Harris, Stornoway and Skye.
And it's hugely popular. You've got to be quick to get into the marathon, haven't you?
Especially marathon. 10 minutes it took to take 250 entrants last year.
That's incredible. And is this why you were nominated as a baton bearer today?
Yes, I believe so, on all my voluntary work.
But places like this, it has to be a strong sense of community, doesn't it?
It's a very, very strong sense of community. And with marathon, the whole community is involved. Without the community, it wouldn't happen.
And you're chuffed to have the baton here today?
Oh, very chuffed indeed. It's quite an honour.
That's great. Well, listen, ladies, thank you very much. I hope you have a nice day today. And of course, the baton heads from here up through the Outer Hebrides, ending up in Orkney later in the week. If you want to find out exactly where it's going to be, have a look on the BBC Scotland website.
Cameron Buttle there in what looked like a bit of a chilly Barra. How's it looking for the rest of us the rest of the day, Gillian?
Oh, you know, a bit of everything heading our way this coming week, Katrina. But for this afternoon, sunshine and showers pretty much sums it up. We've got low pressure up to the northwest of us, and that's helping generate some of those showers, but equally some popping up just as those temperatures rise. And there will be some heavy ones, especially for the Central Highlands, northern Aberdeenshire, down into the southern uplands too. And the odd rumble of thunder in the mix in the heaviest of those showers. Temperature-wise, will be into the high teens, and it will feel warm where you have the sunshine, probably the best of it down towards the southwest, just a light southwesterly breeze this afternoon. So this evening, showers fade, some late sunshine to end the day for many of us, and overnight will be largely dry with clear spells, very light winds and some patchy mist and fog. We see this band of showery rain getting into the Western Isles overnight, and there could be some heavy pulses within that, but otherwise it is dry. Temperatures 8 to 10 Celsius for most of us in the towns and cities, a wee bit chillier in some rural spots. So into tomorrow, and we start predominantly dry, albeit cloudy with some mist, but that will lift. The cloud will thin and break, we'll get some brightness going, but then, much like today, we'll start to see some showers developing. More of them than today. They'll be heavier, more of a risk of thunder, and with very light winds, they'll be slow moving. So if you're stuck under one of those showers, you'll know about it. Temperature-wise, similar to today, into the high teens. And then we get into midweek and it's trickier. This system trying to push in from the east, it will bring rain, but how quickly it does so is open to question at the moment. Just now it looks like most places will be dry on Wednesday, but certainly a cooler, cloudier day for the east coast. The best of the sunshine in the west. That's the forecast.
Thanks very much, Gillian. And that's all from us for the moment. I'll be back with the main edition of Reporting Scotland at 6:30. Till then, from all of us here, bye-bye.
With just over 2 months until the vote, join James Cook as he continues his journey around Scotland, challenging both sides of the argument and raising the issues that matter most to you. The referendum debate from Portree in Skye, tomorrow at 9 on BBC Two Scotland.
Looks like everyone's image of paradise.
22 years after first visiting Australia.
Want to see what I missed.
John Bishop retraces the journey that changed his life.
I'll be here forever. I love this place so much.
And discovers a different Oz.
When you had your wedding here, what did you do then about the snakes?
I didn't tell anyone.
I've never chased a cow in a helicopter.
I just banged him in the back of that.
You put him in the back of a transit van?
Yeah. John Bishop's Australia starts tonight at 9 on BBC One.
Join us on the road this week when I'll be discovering who's taking on one of weightlifting's toughest challenges at this year's Aboyne Highland Games. And Fred's in Glasgow helping the TV stars of Still Game take to the stage. On the Road 2014, tonight at 7:30 on BBC One Scotland and on HD.